allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Right. That's right.
Good job in the back. All right.
All right, so now we're going on to some good things. The Duchess BOCES Student of Distinction. You guys want to come on up?
Yep. And Macklin Boyd.
Where's Macklin?
Where's
There he
Macklin?
is.
Okay, he's the star of the hour. Come on up.
He is the star.
Yep.
Yay, Macklin. Woo! Yeah, and if you can speak into that microphone.
So thank you so much, Duchess BOCES. Macklin, you got to be right in the center there, up in front there.
We're not going to make him say anything. He was worried.
We are not? Okay.
He may if he decides
Okay.
to, but great kid. Of course.
So Macklin, on behalf of the school district, we're so proud of you. It makes a huge difference knowing that we have a student that exemplifies the Raider profile everywhere they go and in BOCES, and we commend you on this. I hear it's a very hard distinction to get, and it's very selective. So thank you. Thank you for representing our district so well. And we wish you luck. What a great program you're into. And we want to thank your teacher and your administration for also nominating you. So.
Yes. Again, fantastic student. I'll talk a little bit about the award, and then his teachers can say what they want, and Macklin wants to say anything he can. But it's a student of distinction, and Duchess BOCES a handful of years ago had partnered with the districts, and we wanted to start to nominate some of the students that come to us from districts for their great accomplishments, and he's certainly one. Like, we do this realistically 3 times a year, so 3 of our students are nominated at various districts. So it's, that's out of 800 kids. It's not an easy accomplishment by any means. I'm part of that committee that nominates, and we can get, 10, 20, 30 kids that are nominated, and we have to rifle through and figure out who's best suited for it. And Macklin certainly won it this year, so we're very proud of him for that matter. We have a certificate we'll give him. If Mr. McQuaid, he's his HVAC teacher, if he wants to say anything, he certainly can. Mr. Trout, if you want to read it.
Well, let me just start off by thank you for having us here tonight. I just want to congratulate Mac. He's an excellent example of what we're trying to do at BOCES. He's very hardworking. His leadership qualities are top notch, and he does everything the right way. I can't ask for anything else out of him. He is the perfect example of hard work pays off. So congratulations.
I have to say something. I've known the boys for a long time. And so when I saw Macklin come into HVAC class, I was like, well, I think we got a really good student here. And he showed up and he did everything we asked. He's a great student. We have students that are at all levels. He's one of those that are at that top level. So congratulations. You deserve it.
Nobody.
Yeah, if you want to take a few pictures, that's great. While you're doing that, I'll move on to our second recognition of the night is our school board. These wonderful people that are sitting here around the table. You have a couple little gifts from your board clerk, just to say thank you. But on the behalf of the school district, I just want to thank you for your incredible dedication and service to each of our students. I know that this is endless time, energy, and all your expertise, and every decision you make is really about kids. I can say that because I hear a lot of all your decisions. You're very committed to the students, our learning, and our community, and it's evident in the meetings, but also in your actions. You all lead with care, compassion, and vision for what's best for all students. So on behalf of the entire school district, our staff, our families, our students, thank you for your support and helping us make Red Hook a better place for every single student that walks through our doors. So thank you for your partnership and your leadership. We appreciate you.
All right, so we have our Student Board of Ed representatives here tonight. You ladies want to report out?
Yes, so we don't really have any concerns to share yet. We don't have any concerns to share yet since it's still the beginning of the school year and students haven't really found anything yet. Yeah. So we're just sharing a few student life updates. So to start, exciting update is Varsity Club is back up and running and is really strong this year. We've had 2 meetings so far and we have some great plans, it seems, for this year. So we're excited for that. We plan on doing some concession stands at games and making some donations. So we're super excited and just ready to go out into the community and just help whenever we can. We've also started to enter the championship season for fall sports. Many teams are preparing. They're tapering, they're going into harder practices, and they're awaiting schedules and team selections. And this fall season has gone very, very fast, it feels. But we still have some sports teams with a few more weeks left in the season. Just an update for seniors. It is SUNY Free Application Week is coming up. So that's super exciting. Everybody's kind of chipping away at their applications and getting ready to submit those. And we also have National Honor Society inductions coming up in November. So just another event seniors are looking forward to, and that's on the calendar for us. Student Council has started to plan our annual trip to the NYSCLSA conference. For those of you who don't know that, it's the New York State Council on Leadership and Student Activities Leadership Conference. It'll be November 23rd to 25th in Niagara Falls. The theme is Electrify Leadership. We're looking forward to plenty of roundtables, student-led workshops, and amazing speakers, and a Bills-themed tailgate. We're creating a jersey right now for our school. And we're currently fundraising to ensure that any student council member who wants to attend can, and money is not an obstacle. So another exciting event coming up is the Theater Arts Club is putting on the play Radium Girls, which will take place November 7th through the 9th. Tickets will be going on sale soon, and they will also be sold at the door. And also the musical for the spring was announced, Hello Dolly. So students are looking forward to those. Yeah, it's super exciting, and looking forward to all that. And it's super exciting as well that a lot of the freshmen have joined the club this year, so that's super great, like a good foundation for the years to come. Our pep rally and club expo were this Friday. It was very successful. We had a lot of positive feedback. The fall sports teams and clubs were both recognized, so we had a little bit of everything at the pep rally. We had a big production with spotlights and music and a wonderful presentation. After the pep rally, we had games such as volleyball and the club expo. It was a great opportunity for the freshmen and current students to learn more about the new clubs that are forming and any clubs that we have currently. Thank you. Thank you.
Fantastic. Lots of good things.
What do you think of the gym?
It looks really good. It does look
Yeah.
good.
Okay.
Have you ordered your cap and gowns yet? Have you
Yes.
got, yep.
Yeah. Yep. I think those came out like a week, so everybody's like, it's crazy. Everything keeps making it more real this year.
Exciting. Great. All right. Thank you, ladies. So now we're moving on to something equally as exciting, our tenure.
Yes, so
Yay.
we are lucky enough to have a celebration this time of year. Usually it's at the end of the year, so this is a great milestone for our teachers. We have some great people tonight. I think we're going to start with Ms. Smith. I'll go out of order because Dr. Boyd's like, I always have to go first. So tonight you have, let's see, Kelly Walker. Come on up, Kelly Walker. Yay.
Thank you so much. Tonight I have the pleasure of presenting Kelly Walker to the board for tenure, and I do so with tremendous enthusiasm and confidence. Ms. Walker joined Linden Avenue in 2021, and she brought with her her extensive experience from New York City Department of Education. It was clear from her interview that she had a transformative vision for English and language arts and what that could look like at the middle level. Kelly demonstrates daily that teaching is both an art and a science, requiring not just content knowledge, but wisdom and heart. Her authentic rapport with students has been built on respect, high expectations, and genuine care. She creates a learning environment where academic excellence and social emotional well-being beautifully coexist. Beyond the classroom, she serves on our building level team and on the district equity committee. She's also the advisor of the GSA, the Social Justice Club, and the Creative Writing Club. Tenure represents our school's investment in excellence, and Kelly has proven she doesn't just deserve this investment. Our students also deserve her as their teacher, as their mentor, and their advocate for years to come. It is my honor to recommend Kelly Walker for tenure in the Red Hook Central School District. Thank you.
All right. I need a motion and a second.
Motion. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Congratulations. Thank you.
All right, we're gonna. All right, Dr. Boyd, you have 3 candidates for tenure. Sorry, and Mrs. Strathman.
Good evening, everyone. We have 3 very worthy teacher candidates tonight for tenure. Easy to speak about. So we have Caitlin Canaveri, our speech therapist. We have Heather Conrad, pre-K teacher, and Jenna Pierce, 5th grade teacher. Yeah, you can give them a round of applause. And I think Mrs. Allison is going to join us for Mrs. Canaveri first here. So do you want to start?
Caitlin has to come up. She can't get away with
up,
not coming
Caitlin.
up.
Good evening, everybody. It is with great pride and enthusiasm that Dr. Boyd and I and Ms. Strathman recommend Caitlin Canaveri for tenure as a speech and language pathologist here in Red Hook. Although I've only spent a very short time with Ms. Canaveri, I have observed her to have a strong commitment to meeting the diverse communication needs of all of our students. But just looking at her portfolio and speaking with her, I can see that her expertise has expanded notably in the areas of autism, developmental disabilities and delays, and augmentative and alternative communication devices. And she has already shown such an eagerness to deepen her practice, engaging in professional development to continue to refine her skills in assessment and evaluation, articulation, and language and reading development.
And I echo all those things. And we'll continue with the fact that Caitlin also serves on our MTSS committee, which meets twice monthly. She's an outstanding resource on that committee as a team approach. It's like a child study team for MTSS. She offers a lot of insight and expertise and recommendations to classroom teachers and helps us best address the needs of all of our students. She's a terrific resource, and we're very lucky to have her. So without hesitation, we are all 3 of us recommending her for tenure tonight.
Great. All right. I just need a motion and a second.
Second.
And all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Congratulations. Thank you.
All right, next up is Mrs. Heather Conrad, and Mrs. Strothman is going to start with a couple things. So Mrs. Conrad, come on up.
So I had the pleasure of teaching with Heather for a few years, and remember you coming on board and really helping to develop and help our pre-K program evolve. We started small and now we are mighty, and Heather has been a big part of that. When you walk into her classroom, you feel the joy, you can feel the love. You often, I don't think, even give yourself enough credit for what you're doing down there. None of the pre-K team who are back there do. We walk in and are amazed what 3 and 4-year-olds are doing, and I wish you could see it from our lens. It's really impressive, and you should be really proud of the work you've done.
Our favorite hallway to visit, without a doubt. And we're glad to have our pre-K teachers here supporting and the family of cheerleaders. You can cheer now. You want to cheer? Yeah. Mrs. Conrad handed me a book early on as I took over the building pre-K through 5 about the importance of play-based learning. And she delivers on that every single day. Lessons are engaging, they're exciting for our youngest students, and it sets the table and the foundation for everything we need for our kids to be successful all the way through our schooling. So we're thrilled to have her. She's a leader amongst the pre-K teachers, and that team, as we've expanded the program, just keeps getting better and better and better. So we're very lucky to have you, and it is without any hesitation that we are recommending her for tenure here in the district.
Wonderful. Can I get a motion and a second on that?
Motion. Second.
All right, all those in favor? Aye. Congratulations.
All right, and last but not least tonight, Mrs. Jenna Pierce, please join us up front.
So one of the things that I think stands out to me when you go into Jenna's classroom is that there's always sort of this sense of calm going on. Your management and your approach and your instructional strategies are exceptional, and I think you really should be proud of the repertoire that you have built. We've also had to go through some challenging student things together, and the way you've handled them is really something to be commended. I think that you've shown care and love for every student every step of the way, no matter what. And so that's really something special.
Yeah, Jenna's skill set is like evident from day one. She blew us away. Like the first year just was like, holy cow, like we're so lucky to have her here. And at that time she was teaching 5th grade before she did a little bit in 4th. And it was with some of our trickiest students, some of our highest achievers. And she has this wonderful way of making it accessible for even our lowest struggling learners, and then pushing and challenging our top learners as well. One of the things I want to highlight tonight is the fact that she also, we were lucky that she did her administrative internship with me for a good chunk of the last year and a half. And to see her in that role as well was really impressive. She did a number of different terrific projects, including creating this staff hub of resources for our teachers that is really practical and helpful as a resource. She also was instrumental on our BLT with our buddy day activities and those multi-age activities with our kindergarten students getting together with 4th graders and engaging in special projects and activities has made our school a much, much better place. Her ideas are always like on point. They're great, and they've helped our school become a much better place. We're so fortunate to have her, and it is, again, without any kind of hesitation that we are recommending her for tenure tonight.
Can I get a motion and a second? All those in favor? Aye. Congratulations.
All right. Feel free. You can stay, but if you want to go to sleep, that's okay too. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, we understand there's little ones here too. It's getting late. So I'm gonna turn it over to Dr. Summers. As you know, we talked a lot about our future focused instruction. So she's just going to give you a highlight of what's been going on in the school district. And then I have spoken to you about us using the R3 learning model, really to get our district ready for all the changes that are coming with New York Inspires and the Blue Ribbon Commission. It's just a way for us to look at the school district and make sure that we have that relevance, rigor, and resilience. So Dr. Summers. You want to sing the whole thing?
We do expect entertainment. Entertainment.
Or you could ask random questions to make sure people are paying attention.
We're gonna, all right, I'm gonna start thinking.
Why, is there a mic? No. Clear room, kitty.
So it doesn't matter.
Okay, so tonight, this is a follow-up to a innovation presentation that we gave last year, where I had all the department chairs, coordinators, and liaisons. I looked back at that presentation, it was 46 slides. And I know you guys like really long presentations, but I cut it back, so it's only 20. So tonight we're focused on the future focused instruction and the 3R learning model. This is a model that, next page. It's stuck. Okay, I'm finished now. Thank you very much. No. So I'll give you some background. So we've been working with the Successful Practices Network for about 7 years. We started with Dr. Bill Daggett. He worked with our teacher leaders and our administrative staff for a number of years. And then we moved through to Dr. Linda Jordan. She's been working with our team for the last 3 years. We've done surveys for students and for teachers from a perspective standpoint. So as they have grown, we have grown. We appreciate their support. So they have worked with us both at a full district level and also at a administrative level. Dr. Jordan did a presentation for our administrative retreat this summer. So I will, and she rolled. Is that okay? You're okay with that? Okay. So the 3R learning model has been rolled out to our full faculty, to our administrative team, and then we've also utilized the rubrics that go along with that. This summer, when Dr. Jordan was working with the administrative team, we went through what the instructional design looks like for future focused through a rubric, and also the student engagement, what that looks like. So I rolled that out a number of times, certainly to the administrative staff, and even this afternoon, I rolled it out to our teacher leaders at the that attend Curriculum Council. So this rubric does help all of us realize that we need to balance what we expect from students to include rigorous instructional strategies, relevant contexts, and critical resilient skills necessary for our students to be successful in the world of work, no matter what they choose to do. So I'm just going to highlight this. You can read this slide, but with rigor, students should be engaged in thoughtful work, high-level questioning, academic discussions, and really a higher level of thinking by the students. It's not harder work, it's just differently designed work. Next. Relevant, students are engaged in real world lessons and learning. It should incorporate both predictable and unpredictable scenarios that people experience in the real world. So it's really being able to understand a complex problem and be able to deal with it with the skill set that they have, but also critical thinking. Resilience. Students should be successful in adjusting to challenges, which are critical for students to demonstrate through resilience. Some people call this grit, the ability to handle a challenge that's given to them that they have not seen before or have seen before. So this is something that through the years certainly has been a highlight to help support students to be able to be resilient to challenges that they face. We are in a very complex world and it changes every day. So students have to be able to adjust to that. So this is the quadrant that's been shared with our faculty. One thing that you need to realize is that we still need to do under rigor, be able to teach students skills and knowledge and be able to do that at many different levels. And at the bottom, it's really Bloom's taxonomy. So how do you develop those skills, apply those skills and across discipline, and be able to do predictable situations, unpredictable situations. Where we would like to end up is in the D quadrant, but it is okay as students develop to be in an A quadrant, B quadrant, C quadrant. So this is a process, it's not an event. So why do we need it? So there's been evidence, and this is where the SPN really does give us some real world active information. Both Linda and Dr. Daggett toured the world. They work with school districts across the nation. They work internationally, and they really work with businesses, corporate leaders, people in the field. So it's been shared with us, and that it is our role to prepare students for whatever post-secondary systems they will enter into. So that's one of the reasons we're incorporating the R3 learning model into our instructional environment. So any questions on the 3R learning model? Okay. So now I'm just going to highlight a couple of the innovations in our classrooms. So we have our little engineers room, which I invite you all to visit. This is where students are giving blocks. Those concrete blocks are really foam, so don't worry about that. But they really get to build whatever they see. So next slide. So another picture of them in action. This is on the K2 side, and it's really an inquiry-based room. So they can really work with their hands and really develop skill sets of working collaboratively, individually to build whatever they'd like to build. It's really a fun place to visit. Next, our STEAM lab. I will tell you, Mike did a great job in his recent district newsletter and talking about the STEAM lab, and Sybil Bell is our teacher in the STEAM lab this year. If you can revisit that article, it came out yesterday, and it really is very explicit in what happens in the STEAM lab. There's more pictures. Great room, really well designed. Dr. Boyd did a great job with that. Okay, again, Mike did a great article on the flight simulator. This is a Cessna, and it really does feel like you're flying when you get in there. Jen Malitsky had gotten a grant for the first one, and the school district also bought one, right? I've not experienced it, but I know that Stacy Smith has, and it's fun. So, but that's a great experience for our kids. So next. Art and storytelling, you've heard about that before, but it really is future focused to have two teachers from two different areas, content areas, work together and really have students experience how to collaboratively do that, how to invest English into art and to work through that process. So that's a different skill set. Project-based learning, certainly something that's happening across the district. It's not happening every single day, but it's happening enough so that students have the ability to either work on a single project, work on multiple projects with a team or individually. Building thinking classrooms, that certainly has been focused in our math at the middle school. It is growing at the secondary level, and that's where kids are up, moving, and really collectively problem solving, or even if they get the answer wrong, the ability to explain what went wrong. So next, technology. This is an area we continue to look at, and the teachers there are doing a great job, and it's hands-on. It's really project-based. So in order to support what happens in classrooms, we in the curriculum office offer opportunities for teachers to do curriculum mapping. This is just the number of curriculum projects that happen this summer. It's a continuous process. It's always more than one teacher working collaboratively with other teachers. No single teacher can just do a curriculum mapping project by themselves. They have to do it with a team. The expectation when a curriculum project is finished is that it'll be fully implemented across whatever content area it needs to be implemented in. So if grade 1 does a curriculum project, all of grade 1 will implement that project. It's not a singleton. And I think that's important to understand that when we work collaboratively, it's applied across the board. So next, in order to continue to support growth in our educational staff, we do support professional development opportunities, not only in IB, but in all areas. Teachers really have a lot of ability to pick a curriculum of professional development that they would like to invest in and to attend that. I do try to I do make sure that it's very equitable, that, one person doesn't go to 6, that we really kind of spread it out. So we do continue to train our teachers across content areas and really to prepare them to utilize new technology, understand AI, create culturally responsive and safe classrooms. So we are in full support of growing our own teachers. These are just some of the ones this year. We have been inundated with requests for professional development, and we are supporting it. Whether it's applying science to critical thinking, some of these are outstanding professional developments. The Greg Tang Fresh Thinking Math Conference, innovation across the board. The top one, it's really about neuroscience and really understanding how students think and how to engage their thinking. So it's a process. This is not just one lane. This is almost, it's curriculum, it's instruction, and it's really staff development. Next.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kitty, I have a quick question. In your view, with the staff development requests, are you finding it equally spread amongst the 3 building levels, pretty much?
Yeah. I'm in my 10th year here.
Yeah.
And when I first started, there's no summer work going on at all. Now we have 40 projects going on. We have teachers from all areas. With professional development, it is coming from all levels. So the first one was 2 elementary teachers. But when you go further down the list, it really is all levels. If I notice that someone, because I approve all professional development, if I notice there's maybe a group or content areas that's not really engaged in more professional growth, I will certainly suggest something, or I'll just go talk to either their department chair or their administrator to see that, make sure that all of us are tuned into forward-thinking instructional practices. That comes through the process of observations also. We'll ask, what professional development have you been to lately, book study. The other thing that we do very well, is have our own teachers provide professional development. So most of those were outside of our district, but there is a whole range of offerings within our own district, book studies, many, many different things. So. Any other questions?
I have a quick question about over here. About the whether there's some kind of like assessment that comes with this R3 kind
Yes.
of program to help know how things are landing.
Yes. So there's rubrics associated with the 3R learning model. So today, when I rolled it out again to the Curriculum Council, I rolled out all the rubrics for resilience, rigor, and relevance, and to ask them to do their own self-assessment, because part of it is what students should be doing, and the other part of the same rubric is the instructional design. So that has been rolled out. So I've asked them to do a self-assessment and then ask their departments to perhaps do their own personal self-assessment first, and then how it applies to their lesson plans. I will share with you that at a administrative level, the principals have incorporated the 3Rs into their goal setting so that we are sure that they're embedded in our practice. They're not separate from our practice. So,
Yeah, and
so
looking at it like a
working at it.
system.
Yes.
We're still waiting for the state to put out some rubrics for project-based learning and alternatives to regions. They still are, I think, in development.
They're in development
They're-
somewhere.
So we're still, so I think our mindset is getting our system prepared. There's a lot of great things and sort of, this is what we're working towards as an entire system. And Dr. Summers didn't put this up, but I also want to thank her for her leadership in literacy. Yes, you might want to say something. Yesterday, she was at a great conference, but also too, future focus work is great too, but we also really have a huge focus this year on literacy. So if you want to speak a little.
Sure. Thank you. I did go to a tremendous literacy conference yesterday. It was held in Albany from New Paltz. They were the host of the literacy conference. It was practical. So we had some information from different universities, research-based. Our work in literacy has been ongoing. I feel we're ahead of the game on that. Certainly the administrative staff at the elementary level has been very instrumental. The middle school administration too has worked. This year we did some work with the sixth grades to incorporate literacy, make sure that we're hitting literacy in the sixth grade. And at the, I was going to hit this on my update, but I'll
Sorry,
just
I
jump.
took your curveball.
That's okay. I can take it. I can hit it out of the park. So I will kind of do an update right now, and you can skip over me at that part. So for our administrative, our superintendent's conference day, we had Dr. Alyssa Sabatino come in, and she did literacy across the content areas for all secondary staff, which when you roll out literacy to the secondary staff, they start worrying about teaching phonics. And how are they going to do that? Because they have a misunderstanding of what their role is in teaching literacy. So Alyssa did a fabulous job of doing a keynote to all the secondary faculty, 6 through 12. And then we did breakout groups for different content areas and music, art, PE, English, math, science, social studies, special ed. And she really broke it down to to have them further or deeper understanding of their role. Their role is not to teach phonics. Their role is to teach literacy. That's vocabulary development, comprehension, oral language proficiency at whatever the content area is. So she really gave them more tools, more practical suggestions. And when we discussed the outcome of the superintendent's conference today with the secondary leaders, very positive feedback. So we will have her continue to come in during our PD focus time for a couple of those times and to further support our secondary staff in understanding that they're all reading teachers, because that's the expectation from the state. So at the elementary level, we have been curriculum mapping ELA, our literacy components over the last couple of years with our consultant Val Falco. So I feel we're ahead of the game. I feel that it's very much in our arena, in our instructional practices, that all our teachers are teachers of reading. So we continue to support that process. Again, it's professional development, it's curriculum writing and making sure it's integrated into literacy, it's integrated into their system. So, and providing professional development. So our focus this year is on literacy and engagement and communication across the board with incorporating the 3R learning model. And I think it's coherence, pre-K through 12, that will support a tremendous learning environment for our students. So, any questions?
Similar question. In terms of literacy, are there any measures or guideposts that we're looking at in terms of like setting goals for improving literacy? Like, are we looking at ELA test scores or, other metrics?
Sure we are. We do it all the time. We don't, the 3 through 8 testing is a snapshot. We have a lot of opt-outs on that. So that's not daily instructional practice. So one of the workshops I went to yesterday was the impact of assessments on teaching reading. And tremendous professor out of Michigan State who will be sending me her PowerPoint so I can share it with the administrative staff across the board. But it does specifically name assessments to make sure that the instruction that is happening in the classroom can be measured, can be evidence-based, and can have an outcome. So, and she was very specific on if it's decoding, this is the assessment measurement. What's happened with research across the years is that no one has really stood up and said, if you have this issue, use this assessment. If you have this issue, you need a different assessment. She did. And it was tremendously practical and research evidence-based so that we can continue to build our structured literacy program throughout the district. So it's constant, our assessment. What really needs to happen is make sure that our tier 1 instruction has impact and that all students have a right to learn to read, and all that is our role. So I'm very powered up about this. Anything else?
Yep. Thank you, Dr. Summers, for your leadership in these areas.
Thank you.
Okay, I forgot that we have another presentation. Sorry. Dr. Rowdy's here to talk about, I did give you a little bit of information regarding this dual enrollment. We will have the full numbers at the next board meeting, but this is just to give you an overview of a new opportunity that we have. So, Dr. Rowdy?
Well, good evening, everyone. Good to see everyone tonight. Before I begin, I am very excited about this. I do want to thank all our partners at the district level, Mr. Martin, Dr. Summers, and Dr. Warden as well. It was a team effort to move on this in a very short amount of time. So, it speaks volumes to the leadership of the district. So we can go to the next slide. So dual enrollment, if you're not familiar, it is a methodology where students can earn high school credit while earning college credit at the same time, sitting in the same class. There's a process where the teachers get vetted, interviewed by the institution of higher learning, and that enables them to teach these classes. And the classes also have to align with college level classes in terms of the rigor. So we have a number of them in our building right now. Pre-calculus, IB English 1 and 2. I was here a few months back talking about that. That was a very exciting change for us. Women's studies, psychology, mind and body wellness, and statistics. Those are all through SUNY Dutchess, with the exception of statistics at the bottom. So for a long time, and you can move on to the next slide, this has been paid by students out of pocket. And actually, I shouldn't say a long time, because historically the college actually gave it for free for students. And then that policy changed at the SUNY level. So our students had to pay out of pocket. And there is a reduction based on income level for free and reduced lunch, but it's still pretty expensive. $150 even at that lower level for a 3-credit class is a lot for a lot of families. And even for any family, $300 for full credit is a lot of money. So we're very excited about this new opportunity through BOCES, a dual enrollment COSER. And the way it works is We contract with BOCES for this program, and the district pays the cost of tuition for all students. Doesn't matter, their income levels, if they're in a dual enrollment class and they want to earn college credit, which they don't have to if they don't want to, we certainly encourage it. The district pays for that. Now, the cost of the tuition becomes subject to BOCES aid. So in the next fiscal year, that is reimbursed at our aid rate, which I believe is around 59%. So that amount comes back to the district. The remainder, the district would cover. However, the cost of the salaries of those teachers that teach these classes are also subject to state aid as a result. So we have a number of teachers that teach all those classes, especially in the English department. At the percentage of their workday that is spent teaching dual enrollment, that becomes subject to state aid. So one teacher, for example, that teaches all IB English classes, their entire salary is aidable to the district, and we get back 59% of that salary through that BOCES aid. If someone teaches one class, then that percentage of their salary is also subject to aid. So if you move on to the next slide, the way this works next step wise, so this is very, very new. This program began by BOCES literally weeks ago, from my understanding. So, things have been, happening rapidly, and it's required us to be nimble, and I'm very happy that our partners at BOCES and at SUNY Dutchess have been willing to accommodate that shortened timeline. So SUNY Dutchess actually extended the registration deadline for our students. So it should have been Friday. We've been able to allow students to continue to register this week. Even I think this morning there were still registrations coming through. SUNY Dutchess will provide refunds to any students who have already paid them for those courses. So I have a list in the main office. Parents were told to call if they paid already, and we'll be giving that list to BOCES, and they will refund that money because they're going to get the money back from the district. So there's really no harm to the college in doing so. After that, the college will review all the registrations that came in. They will send them to the school. We will vet that list, make sure it aligns with the list that we have. We don't want to make sure nothing slips through the cracks. And then ultimately the roster will be used to determine the tuition cost for the district. A finalized agreement with BOCES will be completed with the full amount identified. And starting in the spring, Marist College, moving forward, will also be part of this. We're excited for that as well. They had an earlier timeline this year where those payments and registration happened a lot earlier. So if you move on, this is a very general projection of savings. These are rounded numbers and they are estimates. And they're really estimates because we don't know, we kind of do now, but we don't know if all students are going to sign up for these classes. You might have some students that just know they're not college bound for whatever reason and decide, I don't want to go through with that, and that's their prerogative. So, we're likely not going to have 100% of students in all classes that decide they want to take the college credit. But ultimately, we have 8 teachers that teach dual enrollment classes over 19 different course sections. And the total amount of salaries connected to these dual enrollment courses is just shy of $680,000. So the amount of that would be coming back the following fiscal year in aid is around $400,000. If every student were to register, the cost of tuition would be $80,000 with the reimbursement amount of $47,000. So the amount that the district would ultimately be spending on that tuition for students would be roughly $33,000. So when you subtract 33 from that 400,000, this is additional enhancement of our revenue by $367,000. So at the end of the day, every student that wants college credit for these classes is getting it completely for free, and we're getting almost $400,000 of extra aid. So it's pretty incredible, pretty exciting. You can go on to the next slide. I think that concludes it, but we're just thrilled for this. And, this is our first year doing it. It's something that is happening in other counties in New York State. So, it is a model that exists. It almost sounds too good to be true when you explain it like that. But even state ed has put out guidance explaining that it is not too good to be true, that this is the real deal. So we're excited to be piloting it this year and look to hopefully expand. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
And we'll be just signing this for the year just to see how it all works out for us and the state aid. But Mr. Martin will be sending a memo to transfer funds to do this. So that will come at the next meeting because we have to give money out to get the money back. But I think it's a great opportunity, at first, for our students to all get credits. If anybody has a child themselves that's going through school, this is a great way to offset a lot of costs for families and give, and I know it was one of the goals a while ago for the board was to increase, and since Dr. Roddy came along, increase college credits at the high school.
Right. So the credits that they get at SUNY Dutchess, if they end up going to a different SUNY school, and those credits are transferable, are they transferable?
Yeah, it should be pretty seamless within the SUNY network.
Okay.
They transfer
Sometimes
they
privates
transfer
will
to
take 'em
every.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but SUNYs are very good at taking them.
Okay.
Just a quick question. You're talking about expansion. What are your thoughts for like expanding beyond those courses, like other pathways?
So I would definitely like to see it grow and develop. But I also want to do it in conjunction with the teachers because, it's not a light lift for the teachers to go through the process to get certified. They have to produce their transcripts, their resume. They have to go to the college. They essentially interview them, and then they have to interview with like the department chair as well. But I think it's really powerful. And I think there's a lot of classes that are ripe for this. There are some classes that might be AP already or IB that we might be able to co-seat with, and making it a dual enrollment as well. Because, for the rigor of an AP US history class, for example, they're working just as hard, if not harder, than a 100 level US history class at a lot of these colleges. So I think there's a lot of opportunities to expand it. But I would only be comfortable doing it with the support of those teachers in those specific areas. And there's also, we have amazing teachers and we don't want them to be too locked into, a college curriculum. Right now, we have a lot of flexibility, but different departments in the SUNY system feel differently about how much fidelity you have to how they do it. We're really, we're benefiting because the English department at the college, they recognize that IB English is rigorous and just as challenging as anything at the college level, but we're not necessarily reading the exact same novels that they're reading in those classes. And I think that's fine. In other areas, they might say you have to use our textbook, and that might not be a big deal, or that might be a big deal, especially if it's a class where we really want to see more project-based learning and hands-on. If they have a textbook that's more antiquated with, how it operates, that might give us pause. But I should have just said, yes, I want to expand. And that would have really been the good answer. But those are all the nuances that kind of come to my mind. So.
What percentage do you anticipate for kids enrolling to get the college credit?
I have no idea, to be honest, since it is new. We have a lot of students that I believe are interested, but because the paperwork was still going in yesterday, I don't have any updated projections and I don't want to give information that I don't think is accurate. I think what we would do once we get that information is probably put out some kind of survey to get feedback from students on why you did or why you didn't. Because in my mind, I don't see any negative to this. But I don't have the same lens that everyone else has. So I think we'd want to get feedback from students. But the students in the classes aren't being required to do any extra work. It's not like there's extra assignments for the college credit that you wouldn't do otherwise. So it's not making it any more difficult for them. So I'm not sure why some might not. But I also think it's a building culture thing. The idea that it's free college credit, sounds too good to be true. And until we get through a cycle or two and people realize, no, that happens here and that's just part of our bones, so to speak, I could foresee the numbers growing.
Has there been pushback from kids that I'll say know that they're not college bound, that they feel like they've been forced to take IB English in 11th and 12th grade, knowing, and it's like a college credit, dual enrollment now, that I'm not going to do that?
So the IB English is really independent because we made that decision before there was any college credit being offered for that. We made the decision to make IB English for all for 11th and then 12th grade. And then after that, engage the college in those conversations. And yeah, I think there are some students that really dig into it and some students that, might not love the concept of it. But I think it's more of a branding issue a lot of times because in this district for,
2 decades or more, IB has been thought of as that ivory tower, so rigorous, work you to death. And it's not easy. I would never say it's easy, but I think it's the good type of difficult where it's critical thinking and higher level discussions and collaboration. It's not like I remember taking AP classes where I'd be reading, 400 pages a week or crazy, crazy amount. It's not nothing, but I also think that at the same time, we see so much stuff throughout the country about, young people aren't reading as much anymore. Literacy levels in young adults are down. So I think it's really, really important. And I think it's part of our values that we do believe this is a good thing. And we've seen a lot of students last year that were juniors, the first cohort of this, that had a lot of apprehension, and they did so well. And they walked out the doors at the end of the year with much more confidence in their abilities. So I think any new initiative, you're going to have some people that, might have some hesitancy, but we're seeing, high level conversations from students that never would have considered themselves an IB kid, but they walked out at the end of June saying, I just passed IB English and I didn't know if I was going to. So I think the college credit, and now it's free on top of that, that's like an icing on the cake and makes it even more wonderful. But even without that, I still believe it was a really positive thing for our students and our school.
Get to that number once the registration close?
Really today. So I have to meet with
Next week.
the college,
Yeah.
get the numbers, and then verify the list. So yeah, we should have that soon.
We can get that to you, and then we'll have something on the agenda for approval in November. Thanks, Kyle.
I wouldn't look at, I'm curious on the number, but this is a brand, you have to it's a pilot. So once you get through it and then you have a lot more lead time next year, I'm sure you'll double your numbers.
I think so. And
Yeah, I'm sure
it's
they're
important to note, like, yeah, IB English is for all students, but all the other dual enrollment courses, the students self-selected to be in those. So, whether they might not have gone in because they wanted the college credit, they just might love psychology. But, those were all things where students said, I want to take that class. So. Thank you.
Thank you.
So that brings us to our first recognition of visitors. Do we have anyone? Right, so moving right along to Dr. Warden.
So I'll just highlight some of the things that are out of the administrative report. If you take a look at Mill Roads report, our work with the book talk with the Anxious Generation continues in both buildings, but Mill Road is going to extend the Let It Grow projects from 2nd to 5th grade. So I think that's a great, wonderful thing. If you go around our buildings, you'll see that we're celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month all throughout our school. If you saw as you drove in, which you probably didn't, if you take a look, we're finishing off the path at Mill Road. So that's actually going to be even a longer walk for all of our students. So that's been a wonderful month. You read Ms. Smith's report, and she has her pictures of her teachers, which was absolutely wonderful. And again, she's celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month with bringing in local artists, also having cultural presentations for our students. We heard about the flight simulator. She also highlighted that in her report. Also, the piano lab has been absolutely wonderful. So thanks for the support on that. It's great. You get to go in there. I was on there and Kyle was trying to tell me how to play the piano and it didn't work, but it's been great. He has headphones. He can speak to all the students. It's been wonderful skill. So we appreciate the support. At the Lambs as well, they continue with the PBIS program and the Martha Buck. Oh, it depreciated? Appreciated. Okay. So I know that Mrs. Smith is working to have students more in the process of discussing prize selection. So that's wonderful. One of the things I want to highlight in the high school, and we'll have more information to come, is that the high school submitted an application to New York State for a CT welding pathway. So that's in the works, thanks to Dr. Roddy, Mr. Hutman, Ms. Haggerty on their work. So we'll have a presentation on that, but we just have to wait to hear back from them. So that's really exciting for our school district to be able to offer that for students. We have the skill set of our teachers to be able to do. We also have training for our students to be able to use Khan Academy and Khan Amigo so that they can start seeing how AI tutoring can work for them and they can start implementing that and be more personalized based on that for them. On October 23rd, please come to our Skilled Trades Fair. That is going to be hosted by County Executive Serino and Senator Hinchy. And that is happening right at our high school, and a lot of local companies are going to be there and offering an idea of what it's like to work in the skills trade, and also some of them actually may be hiring. So I think that's a great opportunity for our students. I believe it's at 6.
Is there anything
days.
during the day for the students who can't come?
Not our hosting on this one.
Right,
Yeah.
okay. Sure.
But you've had other trade fairs during the day. Yep. This is really exciting, and I didn't even know this till I read it, that the kindergarten students will be headed up to the high school for Halloween. That's great. They're going to be doing a parade. So how great is that? They're so cute. So we're happy to see that. I wish Allison was still here. The flex teachers met over superintendent's conference day, and it was great to see her working on alignment from pre-K to senior year and beyond, talking about functional academic skills. There's a huge, I think it's a crisis of our leaving high school with lack of service. Now we're keeping our students till they're 23, but there is just not a lot of service. So we're really talking about what we can prepare for them here, but also starting to educate our parents on the resources that are out there. So she's doing a great job starting that conversation as well. So you can see that there's a flyer. So the same night as the skills fair, she's also going to have kind of resources coming in, and they're doing a workshop on parent empowerment program so that the families what school-based support they have, but also what's after students graduate, the support for that. So hopefully you got a chance to check that out. So we commend her for. The bleachers will be here, I think, tomorrow, but definitely by Monday. So we will have bleachers. It should probably take a week, which maybe 2 weeks. So it's going to look so wonderful. So that's the last bit. Do have some lighting that we probably have to do, and maybe a little bit more painting when they come in, but that's gym will be completely done. And we'll be able to use the brand new bleachers. And you can take a look at Scott's report too. He talks a little bit about that. We have a new hire at Mill Road and at the high school for our head custodians, and they've hit the ground running, which is great. We still have our transportation report. We're continuously looking at our contracted runs because it's so expensive, and potentially if the more drivers we have, the less contracted runs we have. So that is something that he's constantly working on as a goal. We have our 4 new EV charging stations will be installed, and for our electric buses that are coming. And oh, you got a chance to read the report from our food service director. They had a great time yesterday. They went to the culinary to talk about our farm to school initiatives and work with other representatives around the state to get more information on how to continue and to build on that. That was great. And you can see he also hit the ground running with establishing partnerships and beginning the initiatives that have been going on in the school. And there's been renovations at the high school to lunch line. And eventually we're going to be renovating the entire cafeteria, but we're still waiting on furniture coming in. So all in all, good stuff happening. And do you have any questions?
We have a lot of the contracted runs for transportation.
Don't know off the top of my, do you know it off the top of your head? Yeah, it's horrible. And the trouble, the hard time is if you have a student that actually becomes homeless, in a very far away place, you don't have another bus going that way. So that's where some of those contracts come in, or special education that maybe district that we didn't anticipate, and then you're have no choice.
Do we have any shared agreements with other districts to help transport?
Not at this time. I know that people have asked us a few times, but no, not at this point. I don't know how, I can find the exact number for contracted. I don't know.
Tough time finding drivers.
Right, but it saves, like Bruce said, if you see that contract, there's a lot of words. Yeah, I think when I started, we probably had 10 to 15. Get drivers, that's the goal. We have the vehicles.
One? Okay, so let's go on to committees. You want to start with policy? You guys want to report out? Anything?
Really have much on policy.
Not much to report out on us. We have one that we reviewed that we were going to wait to get some more information on from Erie One for some of the updates on one of the policies. And then we had a quick review on our FOIL policy that forthcoming at the next meeting.
Yeah, and on Erie One, that was something that we learned about. I learned about from Heather this evening, and I think next board meeting she's gonna either exec or on the board she's gonna tell us a little more about Erie One. Apparently, it's a state organization that Janet probably knows more about this. Dr. Warden, sorry, that they actually, on behalf of districts, can help write policies. So it's suddenly like a big lift off of an individual district to figure out how to constantly keep policies updated and in line with state law or changes in state law. And they do this for, I guess, across New York State. Yeah. So who knew? But it sounds like a great resource. I think Heather's going to tell us more about it next time.
Great, that's awesome. All right, and now we'll go on to community engagement or advocacy.
Hello. Hey, so Community Engagement Committee met. We discussed our vision and kind of where we see this year going. Last year, a big addition to that committee and just in general to the board and contributions was the community partnership team. So last year we had 3 building tours at Mill Road, Lambs, and the high school, where we invited community members to come join us for a tour and hear from some of our department directors and also discuss what they saw in the building and ask questions to some of our administrators. And it was a really valuable experience to engage the community and get some thoughts on, what it is we do, or to share thoughts on what it is we do here in the building, see some students in action. And we really enjoyed it. So we definitely want to continue some semblance of this year. We're excited to have a little bit more of a runway because I think that all came together in February of last year. And we had 3 tours from February to April or so. So we'd like to continue that and potentially make some tweaks so that we can engage more individuals. So I think at the next Community Engagement Committee meeting, we'll kind of solidify the details of how we're going to enlist participants. But with the idea that if you did not participate last year, perhaps you will be prioritized to be brought in this year, while also allowing some folks that participated last year to build on that experience. And then we also discussed a couple, ideas that we're toying around with. Like perhaps this would have to be discussed with district leadership and building administration, but perhaps providing a shadowing or day in the life sort of experience to a select number of these participants so that they can, rather than just have a tour of the building, get a more immersive experience in what it is to be like a student at Red Hook, whether it's for a couple hours to shadow a student or go from class to class. So we'll be considering that and, suggesting something to potentially propose to the group. Again, to provide insight and maybe like share out to the larger group on what it is they experience during the day. And then ideally, we're kind of gathering feedback through these discussions and tours, so that it can inform us in the decisions we make on the board, but also we can package that feedback up and present that to our district leadership. And we'll also encourage our participants to, get involved in things like community conversations in the spring so that they have this backlog of insight within our school buildings that they can then bring into that conversation about our district as a whole. So that is that. More to come next time. And we also discussed this BOE report card. Kelly, did you want to speak to that maybe?
But we're not using the word report card.
Right.
So we talked about, getting this type of information out after each board meeting. And perhaps even the committees could, fill out something along these lines. And then we could pump that information out, just like the highlights of what we discussed. Yeah, put it out on Parent Square and the community square. We also talked about that. So
I also thought it would be a really good idea for Kelly to do like a broadcast news version of this and record it. And
Well, you do have a celebrity right
I
here
know,
that can
right?
help you.
Exactly.
I'm not sure if she's
Put it on
committed
TikTok.
to that yet.
That's right. Florida Bed Reports. Yeah. But I thought we should round robin it.
All right.
Yeah, I think we should use the high school. Yeah, and you guys can teach us. Yeah. So you have to make me look 10 years
Or
younger.
the students could report out. You
So
could
great.
report out too. You could.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one. BOE Buzz. Do you like that?
Who said that?
And
Exactly. You're it.
so, yeah, the idea is to make what goes on here and what's in our agenda and our minutes more accessible and digestible for the larger community.
Just want to quickly note on the shadowing thing that before we go really deep into that, there's some privacy concerns and fingerprinting issues that people can't be walking through our buildings without like alone, period, unless they're fingerprinted, approved. So there's a lot of privacy issues. So we can think about that through that lens. Joe, I just wanted to make sure that I got that out there.
Great. Thanks. All right. So now facilities.
Okay, so it is always time to be thinking of our next capital project, right? We can never relent on the importance of our facilities focus. So a couple small things that are just, in our purview. And I know Aaron spoke about this last time. We do have to do another tweak to the current Mill Road HVAC. We do have leftover funds from the last capital project, around 100,000 that we will use to support that. We need to keep Lamb's HVAC.
Boiler.
I mean, the boiler,
Yeah.
excuse me, Lamb's boiler in our sites. We do think we have a few good years left. I mean, these are old units, but they were built really well. So we're kind of evaluating, how much of an investment to just sustain the current system for at least maybe another 5 years. Because that, if we do ever make a significant change, it'll be a extraordinary lift. So we just need to be mindful. Which leads us to really the focus of this year's capital project. I'm just going to lead with an interesting fact that Scott shared with us, that Our bus depot and all of our facilities were built before we landed on the moon. So just let that marinate, like 1960, okay? So it is time to pay attention to a few key aspects related to transportation, primarily our bus garage, which is housed at Lambs. Really, really, really just really workable facilities anymore for not only, housing buses, but also for our transportation staff. Um, the bays that exist, there's 8 now. I think we would look to, obviously upgrade, update. We need better space to house these EV buses that do require more seasonal coverage. It does impact, if it gets too cold, so we have to keep that consideration. Right now, there's dirt floors, concrete floors, charging stations, a new lift, really just an overhaul. There's a lot of sheds. If you guys have been out over there near the fields, there's also a brick building that houses some offices. We wouldn't do anything to that. We would build out like a conference space, an office space into just a much lovelier, more well thought out bus unit garage space area all in one. And then we can use those remaining spaces for storage, and we can just get rid of some of those sheds. So it's a real overhaul. It's time. Um, again, I know it's kind of an interesting area that we probably haven't thought about too much, but Janet's kind of been peppering us for the past 2 years. So that'll be the main focus, really, is a total, focus on that, as well as this year, we are not going to put up any new buses, but we are going to put up hybrid small vehicles. I think there are no more grants right now for EV buses. They are gone. Right now we have how many EV buses? 6. So
Not
that,
here. They're not all here.
they're not all here, but they're in our. So timing wise, if we upgrade the bus facilities, get it properly outfitted, if and when there is more money in the future for support for future EV buses, it'll all kind of come together. So we just have to focus on that infrastructure. We don't have a number quite yet. I think that'll come in the form of a presentation in the next couple of weeks.
But it would be fully aidable. I think
Yes.
that was an important thing to
Yeah.
mention.
Yeah.
Everything except the storage. So we were thinking we would just keep the bays that are for storage, because if we renovate them, we get no aid, because that's just, they say.
Yeah.
So if we kept that as an existing, it's got a dirt floor right now. So if we poured concrete in there and had some electric available in case we bring the EV buses in there, and then the whole other area, we're thinking like an L, and bring over the maintenance crew to have their ability to have some office space over there as well, and then turn the annex more into storage. We're lacking storage with all these sheds that we have. So the building would be prefabricated too.
Yes.
So that also helps with cost.
Yeah. Good point. And then there may be some smaller things that are on our list, like upgrading the fire alarms and updating some doors. But, the nice thing is we've done so many big projects, which is great. A lot of what we can do in-house. It's cosmetic. Yeah, so that's what we're gonna develop over the next, several months.
Was they changing the layout of the bus garage to?
Yeah, like that's what she was referring to with an L shape. I mean, I don't have a full, like, I know it's just sort of like one long rectangle. I think they would build out sort of like an L shape to
Where the
add-
sheds are now. Like,
Yeah,
but yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
We think,
We think.
I think it's like we were asking for a few, like an A, a B, and a C, depending on cost. And what if, say, we did take the storage area and did demolish that and rebuild, that's not aidable, but I think we should still know the cost of that.
Yeah,
Because I feel like we need to do it right.
yeah.
But I am concerned that if we can't get aid back on that, the implications of that, it could be very costly.
Do we have any debt falling off?
What is here at Mill Road for the buses?
So that's just storage.
That's just
Yeah,
storage,
so we
okay.
really can't, I mean, we could, but we're not gonna get aid on anything that you just store a bus in. Once you put a roof on something, apparently it doesn't have aid anymore.
Yeah.
For buses.
And there's no office space here.
No.
It's just really a one
Yeah,
bathroom and
just
parking. I
storage,
asked the same
yeah.
question. But we would consolidate, like if you look, there's like a brick building that does have a couple offices, so we would keep that building potentially for storage and then move office space and one conference area all in that L layout. Does that make sense?
So does the prefab building, is that what gets us around the roof? If that's not,
No,
Okay.
so we wouldn't touch the storage area
okay,
because if you demolish it and rebuild it, you don't get any aid on it at all.
okay.
So we're thinking it's a dirt floor right now. So we were thinking just pouring concrete in there, but also putting the electric in there for future use for EV buses. Otherwise, and I don't know the exact if we would even get aid on pouring the concrete. So, these are all questions that we have to still kind of uncover. So he's going to give us a couple, proposals. This is what it looks like, A, B. Obviously, we'll talk at the costs, and then decide as a group, if we want to move forward. We need a lift regardless. So there's many things that are going on there right now that we're going to have to address. So do we want to do short-term fixes or do we just want to go in there and do it correct and, have it up there for the next 65 years?
Yeah, there was the lift and a wash station.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So sorry, you said lift?
Lift.
Okay, so those things are like immediate, like they need to be repaired.
Yeah, they definitely need a
Can't wait a
lift.
year sort of thing.
Correct. They definitely need a lift. So we might even have to think about that beforehand, but, gotta fix the buses.
And then similar, like Mill Road HVAC and Lamb's HVAC are like advisable to be done within, to be
So
brought up this year versus next year.
So the HVAC for here was approved already in our last project. And however, remember we had the discussion that it wasn't up to code. So that's what we're going to be putting back out at the next project too, is more money to finish that. So they're going to get a chiller system similar to the HVAC system at Lamb's. It needs a complete overhaul. So we would have to pick the system that we wanted. I know we've talked about geothermal, we've talked about a lot of different things. So I think at this point, continue to research that because that is extremely expensive. And just want to think about if that's the best way to go. So we're going to put that secondary after this as a priority. That's what I think I'm hearing from the architect and the contractor. We got the building condition survey. There was other stuff on there, but nothing that was at a like safety level concern that we had to prioritize. So these two issues to me are huge issues for working conditions, but also just optimal performance for our buses and just the lifespan of buses and then the HVAC for Lambs. The boiler is good, but it won't last forever.
And there's two, right? Two boilers? at
I think
Lamb's?
there's 3 now.
Oh, three. Wow.
Was there a price tag on the additional cost for the HVAC here?
I think it was around 4 million more.
4 million more. And what was the original?
2. Yep. Right, because the original bid did not have the same specifications. It changed.
I just remembered something that I meant to bring up in community engagement, but it's kind of tied to facilities potentially. Maybe it's not, but we briefly spoke about something that came up last year a couple times, which is potentially having LED signage. And what we were wondering is if we could just at maybe a future board meeting have an update on where that was. I know it was worked on at some point at the Lambs BLT. And then there was some communication with the village or planning board. But figuring out where that was, because I think when it came up last time around, it was pretty agreeable in terms of potentially being a powerful tool for engaging the community and putting out messaging and celebrating students and whatnot. And we brought that up as like a way of communicating with folks that maybe don't get the messaging through Parent Square and things like that. So I'm wondering where that's at and You know, obviously that's not necessarily like the cheapest thing to construct. Is that something that could be included in a capital project as more of a, I don't know, I think it's more exciting than a bus garage, but maybe, maybe not. You know, something to excite voters as well.
I don't, if it happened at the BLT in the building, I'm not 100% sure. I don't know if the PTSA can afford something of that magnitude. I gotta think it's gotta be over $100,000 or more. So it is something that we could put in, I don't know about the aid on something like that, but, we could put it in the capital project if people wanted to prioritize that. I think we might have some issues with the.
We need to find out what the regulations are with the town and
Mhm.
lighting, the neighbors, like,
Yeah.
Because the lighting and the historic.
yeah, that was a big thing with the lighting, with the field, is there's houses there. So I don't know who we ask about that, like literally the town.
Well, when you do capital projects, they're supposed to be checking the town and village for us. Those types of regulations. So I don't really know. I know that there's rules in the village already about, like, closed signs, open signs already. So, but I'm sure that they make ones now that are probably like better at night, that don't shine right in. I'm sure that there's a lot of technology. I can see if there's a cost. I have really no concept of what a cost could be because it's not something that we brought up in the facilities. If it's happening at the BLT.
I know there was talk about it last year, and then I think it kind of just,
There's so many other things.
yeah, so many other things that kind of got lost. But I think Austin's bringing up a good point. We talked about it several times, and then it seems like it's kind of slipped. It doesn't mean that we should do it, but I think it means that it should be part of the facilities committee's agenda, and on the list of potential things to consider. And the architect should be looking into this and give us a quote and what are their village requirements. And there probably are, and the village will, just have to give us approval. And but I think it should. I think it should go to facilities committee and be on their list to at least consider. And
Yeah, we can do that. I just do want to caution the board though, because I understand, like I was being a little flip before, like I know Bus Depot's not super shiny and sexy, but if I can say that word, but I think we have to get behind it because again, it's necessary. You know, we can certainly look at other things like a sign, but like our job is for safety. We've got to think about the folks that work there, right? They deserve facilities just as much as our teachers and our administrators. So we just have to be careful when we're going out into the public that, we're behind this because it's critical and it will be the crux of probably our capital project. But we certainly can fold in some other aspects. That's why I mentioned upgrading the fire alarms, like we do that. But we just have to be thoughtful also about putting out a giant number to the public after we've had some back-to-back big numbers as well.
I think a digital sign is not going to like move the needle very much. So, yeah.
I don't.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the ask is not that we do a sign. The ask is that it be considered as part of it. Yeah. 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 I don't want you to be defensive. I just want you to do your job in facilities.
He's going to help you with your
We did
agenda.
our job. We brought it up. Trust, did I not, Erin? You're quiet over there.
It came up.
Yeah. No, and I think last year, to Austin's point, it was so late, we'd already put up the capital project thing, so we'll just circle back around.
Yep. You got it.
Perfect. I'll see what.
So are there any other Board of Ed comments, things you want to talk about?
I'll just briefly mention that I attended the first Dutchess County board meeting. Woohoo! I think the biggest takeaway, it was a lot of just sort of like going back over old businesses. I think a lot of districts are just really trying to keep pace with like a current AI policy. Just seeing how fast it's changing to make sure. And I don't think anybody had an answer. It was just something that I thought was the most interesting takeaway. So it's just a policy that's going to probably continue to change frequently and to keep an eye on it.
Took you 9 years to make one?
You gotta move faster than everything else with AI.
So just really quick, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, we're still on BOE. Okay. I just wanted to share out, hopefully everybody has heard about this already, that the high school is going to be the first location for the town's comprehensive plan visioning workshop. It's on Tuesday, October 21st from 7 to 9 p.m. And I think there's maybe potential for there also to be like a student aspect of that during the school day, but certainly in the evening for community members to come and share your thoughts about the Red Hook Town Comprehensive Plan. You don't have.
Invite our student board member.
Yes. Okay, so it's going out to the I'm just saying into the microphone. It's going to go out to the students also. How will you send it out to them? Say it into the mic.
So we've put it out onto our HBC already, so it's been on the news. It was on the news today. And we're also going to put it out to each class team's page.
It said it's their town and their future, right?
So really quickly, so I attended the PTSA meeting and they have a fundraiser this weekend at Mead Orchards. They will donate 20% of everything that's sold, from pumpkins to rides, things like that, back to Red Hook PTSA. And one other thing that I thought was really interesting, back to the Raider Bucks and the prizes. So they had asked the students, what was the prize that they would most like to see? And the answer was am I saying it, squishmallow? A squishmallow. So Mrs. Smith, she wrote to Squishmallow, and they're donating 100 of them.
No.
Yes, to lambs. So very exciting news. I thought that was worth sharing. And then the other thing I attended was the Red Hook Education Foundation, and their first round of grants, their first deadline, they set 3, has ended. So they were voting on that. And they had a successful fundraiser that was in support of our high school cafeteria renovations and furniture. And they're already planning for their annual gala in June. All right, so moving on to the business consent agenda. Can I get a motion and a second on items 1 through 16?
Motion.
Second. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, and so the personnel agenda, I need a motion and a second on items 1 through 16. Any questions, comments? All right, all those in favor? Opposed?
Just want to say a quick comment and congratulate Donna Radman on her retirement. She's worked in the district 26 years. If you've ever come in contact with her, she is a incredibly kind, sweet woman that loves children. And she finally is now going to across the hall from me, so I'm a little upset she's leaving. But she's just one of those people that her energy, as soon as you're around her, is completely comforting, and she's a very compassionate person. So I know she's going to be on the sub list, which is great, but we want to congratulate her and thank her for her 26 years of service. So congratulations to her.
Great. All right, so that brings us to the second recognition of visitors, and I think we're good. All right, can I get a motion and a second on adjournment? All those in favor?
Well, I was like taking notes. What assessment is the list? Dibbles? Dibbles one?
That's a violation.
I'm just curious.